Real quick before the video starts, I have a new channel based around green text stories on 4chan, and I'll be uploading videos daily over there. If you're interested, I'll leave a link to the channel in the description. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named KnowItMage in the AITA subreddit. The post is titled, "I shut down my wife's party favor idea." For some context, the story starts last year at our 7-year-old son's birthday party. I, a 32-year-old male, and my wife, a 32-year-old female, held the party at our home. We decided to leave the bulk of the planning to my wife as she loves this kind of thing and wanted to take the reins. I had no reason to doubt any of her plans as she did a great job with our past parties. I handled invites, food orders, and anything else she needed me to do. To her credit, she did a great job with the party itself. Everything ran smoothly and the kids had a great time, until she brought out the party favors that she had kept a surprise from me. They came out when our friend had to leave with her daughter right after the cake. Before she could leave, my wife went into the back room and came out with a bag, the biggest grin on her face. What was inside the bag, you ask? A small tetrafish from the pet store to be given as a party favor. My friend was flabbergasted. Her daughter's face beamed with excitement at the sight of her new pet. "Mommy, I have always wanted a fish." My friend was at a loss for words, only glaring at me. She declined the fish, walking out of the party while her daughter clung to her, throwing a tantrum about turning down her new pet. Obviously, the chaos caused a scene as all the children now knew about the fish. Every single parent in the room was angry, glaring, muttering, the whole works. What are we going to tell our kids? Great, now I have to get a fish tank. Most parents obliged and reluctantly accepted the fish. The whole time, my wife was elated at the sight of the happy children, oblivious to how their parents reacted. We ended up having to take a few fish home that had been turned down, meaning we also had to buy a tank. My wife could not understand why anyone would pass up a wonderful 50-cent fish she grabbed that morning from PetSmart. Fast forward to now, 1 year later. It is a month away from my son's 8th birthday party, and my wife broached the topic of party favors. She exclaimed that we should hand out fish again. The kids loved it. It was a hit last year. I do not want to go through this again. Several of my friends who were at the party complained about having to take care of these fish, being put in a situation where they felt pressured to accept the gift to avoid upsetting their child. They had never received such a ridiculous party favor, and they would not attend again if this were repeated. Not to mention, this feels horribly abusive to the fish, who now have owners who do not want them. My wife brushed all of this off, saying that the parents were being selfish for not thinking about what makes the kids happy. She apparently did not notice anyone upset at the party, only focusing on how the kids felt. She is calling me controlling, saying she does not even want to plan the party if she cannot have this her way. All of her small group church friends agree with her. I do not want to upset my friends by putting them in an unfair situation, but I do not want to upset my wife because she truly enjoys putting these events together. So, Reddit, am I the antagonist for telling my wife not to buy party favor fish? Update. I took your advice and decided to just talk to her. I used many of your points from the comments to reason with her, especially the ones about animal abuse. My wife just kept insisting that I was controlling, eventually shutting down and walking away, giving me the silent treatment. For those of you asking if this has happened before, yes. Not the party situation exactly, but the "I am going to make a horrible selfish decision and if you push back, you are controlling" behavior. She has backed out of multiple parties and events last minute because she did not feel like going, and accused me of abandoning her when I told her I still wanted to go. Insisted I stop playing guitar because she finds it annoying. Attended a wedding in a swimsuit because she was told there was a pool, then proceeded to spend the whole reception at the pool because they are your friends. I do not really care about celebrating them. Pushed back on my insistence to find a new school for our son, even though he was being bullied because she did not feel like causing a scene. I was fed up and refused to give in. I cannot let my son go through this, and I am not letting him lose friends because of my wife's selfishness. After literally following my wife around the house, trying to get her to talk to me, she said, "Fine, if you want it your way, you can plan this party yourself." So I did. I planned the party myself, besides the invitation, location, and date, which were already planned. My wife also demanded to pick out the cake, and that was not a hill I was willing to die on. It was not anything special, but I am actually kind of proud. It was Jurassic Park themed. My son and I just watched all the movies together, and he adores them. He is really excited for the new one. I themed each table around different dinosaurs and put little plastic dinosaurs everywhere. As for the party favors, I gave out little bags of candy. Nothing amazing, but the kids were happy and my son was thrilled. And no fish were harmed in the making of this party. After the party, my wife kept telling me how lame everything was, that the party was boring and the kids were not literally jumping up and down for my candy party favors like they were for hers. Frankly, I do not care. Sure, the kids did not have a brand new pet to bring home, but at least my party favors did not upset all of our friends and doom my son to a life of friendlessness. Truly, I do not know how things are going to go with my wife and me. I am reaching my limit with her insanity. I have tried insisting on marriage counseling, but she refused unless it was done by the pastor of our church. We went and it was a whole session of the pastor telling me I am not a good enough man to take care of my wife, about how I am turning away from God with my actions, and that I am ruining our marriage. Needless to say, we have not gone back. Ever since, my wife loves to use this session against me in arguments. I loved her, but I am finding it harder each day to keep being in love. I hate the idea of my son thinking this is a happy marriage and that this is a healthy way to live. Divorce scares me, but I do not know if I can live like this anymore. In the end, thank you Reddit for helping me realize that there is a lot going wrong in my marriage, far beyond a forced fish adoption crisis. I have a lot to think about, but for now, I am going to finish watching Jurassic World with my son who is curled up in my lap. By the way, 2 of the 3 fish we had to take home last year are still going strong. They have grown on me, but I am never getting another fish. Acceptable Box said, "The attending a wedding in a bathing suit would have been the deal breaker for me long before any Tetra shenanigans." Starry Gecko said, "I got a beta fish as a party favor when I was about 3 years old. It lived for 2 years, solely because of my mom. According to her, I was so disinterested in it that it took me a year to realize it had died. Do not give pets to children without talking to the parents first. It is ridiculously cruel to everyone involved, including the animal." The second story was made in the relationship subreddit by a user named Husband and Friend. The post is titled, "Hubby of 10 years just told me he's planned a ski trip to Canada with a female family friend. I truly trust that he's not planning to cheat on me, but this seems like a bad idea. My husband comes from a large group of people who are not related by blood, but were basically raised like one big family. At the core, there are 6 families who all vacationed together, celebrated holidays together, served as godparents to each other's children, and so on. They are essentially family. My husband represents the older end of the children at about 35 years old, while this girl, Shelby, represents the younger end at 22 years old. When you see them together, you would truly think they are cousins or even brother and sister. Shelby was a flower girl at our wedding when she was 12, so I too have known her for a long time. To be very frank, I have never hit it off with Shelby. She is a nice girl, and I cannot take that away from her. I admit a lot of this may be jealousy on my part because the little tomboy has blossomed literally into a woman who is model level attractive. In fact, she is a model. She is one of those people who has managed to turn her Instagram account into a reasonable monthly income. She is also a ski instructor, a college student, sweet, funny, and lovable. And to top all of this off, my husband absolutely lights up around her in a way that he does not do for anyone else, male or female. To be fair, he is like this with our kids too. Meanwhile, I feel like the mean, awful wife who has gained 50 pounds yells at the kids about dishes and nags my husband that he cannot go skiing, his absolute passion, because of my parents' anniversary party. So yes, I admit a big part of this problem is my own insecurity and jealousy. So I gave in and agreed that he should take 2 weeks off this winter for a once-in-a-lifetime ski trip to Whistler, British Columbia. He was originally supposed to go with a college friend. The trip is all planned and paid for. About an hour ago, he called and told me that he has bad news and good news. The bad news is that his friend backed out of the trip. The good news is that he already talked with Shelby and she agreed to fill in the now vacant spot. Yay, I stammered a bit, and I think what came out of my mouth was, "You are going on a trip with a 22-year-old girl?" He replied with something like, "Well, not just any girl, it's Shelby." I said, "Okay, but what about the room?" He told me that Shelby is like his sister and he has shared hotel rooms with her before. I told him that I am incredibly uncomfortable with this, and the last I remembered them sharing a hotel room was when she was around 5 years old and he was babysitting her on a vacation. I told him I really had to think about this, and he seemed shocked that I did not immediately share his excitement at the good news. We both hung up disappointed. He is going to be home in about 2 hours, and I truly do not know what to say to him. I very frankly do not want my husband sharing a hotel room with a 22-year-old Instagram model. However, I also know that they booked very early to secure a special rate on the room, and if they tried to book a second room now, it would be hundreds, maybe more dollars per night. There is a good chance that if he does not take Shelby or get someone else to fill in, he may have to cancel the trip because it will be just too expensive for us with the room, the gas to get there, and so on. He has been wanting to do this trip for a very long time, and I do not want to ruin it for him. But to repeat, I do not want my husband sharing a hotel room with a 22-year-old Instagram model. Is this a situation where I should put my foot down? Is making me comfortable more important than his dream vacation? Edit. Craig just got home and kissed me hello as usual, then said he had already canceled the trip and was sorry for making me uncomfortable. He is acting like everything is fine and is working on our family puzzle with the kids, but I know him well enough to know he is really heartbroken at not getting to go. Whether that upset comes from his friend, from me, or the Shelby situation, I'm not sure. I feel terrible because he works so hard and has 2 jobs, and I have taken 2 long vacations without him because he knows being a stay-at-home mom is hard. He has been wanting to ski at Whistler since he was a teenager. I feel awful that my insecurities and lack of excitement for his passions scuttled his trip. I have no idea how to make this up to him because I feel terrible. Edit 2. To add to my guilt, Shelby just called me directly and apologized profusely. She wanted me to know how much she loves me and the kids and that she would never do anything to make me uncomfortable. No excuses, no blame, just her apologizing to me. Edit 3. I was able to talk to the hotel and managed to catch a reservation agent before they went home. Not only was I able to get his original reservation back along with the price, but I am also dipping into my own girl fund to upgrade them to a suite. So while it is not 2 rooms per se, they will now have a living room with a fold-out bed and a separate bedroom. This will go a long way to help me and my insecurities because it will not be a typical hotel room with 2 beds right next to each other. I am telling Craig in just a minute, and then I will call Shelby back to let her know that I appreciate everything she does for us. I have a lot of work to do on myself, and if anything, this has made me realize that my insecurities are a big problem. Edit 4. Comments are still evenly split as to whether this is a good or bad idea. At this point, I am as confident as I can be in my decision. I just talked with Craig about some minor concessions and clarifications I would like from him, which were basically no nakedness or underwear around each other. Shelby gets the bedroom in the suite, so she has her private girl space. Lock the bathroom door all the time, so there is no possibility of misunderstandings or accidents. No cute couple pictures for her Instagram that could be taken out of context. And please call often and Skype at least once a day. I still feel a little too demanding, but I also feel like I am giving a lot. Craig is beside himself that his dream trip is finally happening. I just talked with Shelby and she promised me free babysitting for life and a weekend together in Denver at a spa that sponsors her Instagram. She is not doing too badly for herself. Apparently, a cute butt and cheeky bikinis take you places. She told me that she loved me about 1,000,000 times. I really appreciate all the comments yesterday and today. I am going to really try to turn over a new leaf and get healthy. I am going to start phasing in eating paleo with Craig, and in just a few minutes I am going to go to my first ever hot yoga class with a long-term goal of losing weight and really getting healthy. So the next time this comes up, I can share in my husband's passions like he does for me, then I will get the invite to a dream ski trip. Update. So Craig and Shelby just drove up to the house. Craig is getting ready for work, and Shelby is actually taking a nap in our guest room since she drove most of the night. The trip went very well, and they both had a great time. As for me being insecure, Craig did everything I asked of him to reassure me that there was nothing at all inappropriate going on. He called multiple times a day, and we Skyped for about 15 to 20 minutes almost every night. I got a good idea of the room layout and saw that even though they were sharing a suite, they both had plenty of privacy. I did have one moment early on where the reality of my husband sharing a hotel room with an Instagram model in her 20s sort of took my breath away, but it was not Shelby's fault. My son, who is 9 years old, and I were on Skype with my husband, and I saw Shelby in the background wearing a swimsuit, getting ready to go to the hot tub. When she realized that my son was on Skype, they have a very playful, almost flirty relationship. She leaned over my husband's shoulder and said something like, "Hey AJ, I'm going to destroy you in Halo when I get back." But her breasts were basically right on Craig's shoulder, with her ample cleavage in full view. In my mind, I was thinking, Buster, if your eyes so much as look left, it's over. But Craig did not even flinch, which made me realize that to him, seeing Shelby in a bikini really is like seeing his sister or cousin. So all in all, they had a great time. Craig has since left for work, and I am sure I will chat more with Shelby when she wakes up for her drive across town. As for me, I have spent the last 2 weeks really dedicating myself to losing weight, getting healthy, and being passionate about something again. I signed up for a 60-day challenge at our local hot yoga studio and have been going every day. I started using my FitnessPal to count calories. I am astonished at how much I was actually mindlessly eating for years. In 2 weeks, I have lost just under 5 pounds, which makes me feel really great. Edit, I had no idea this would blow up again, but thank you again. Shelby just left to go to her apartment after we sat and chatted a bit. She is an amazing girl, and I get zero hint that anything went on. She was so appreciative, and she is going to babysit for us whenever we need it and do a girls' day at a spa in Denver with me when the ski season is over and her weekends free up. What is crazy is how the comments on this post and my last one are so evenly split. To answer the most common questions and comments, I was really kidding about him looking at Shelby's bikini. If he looked, but it was still a little shocking to see another woman's more intimate parts so close to my husband. The hot tub pool was for the entire hotel, so as far as I know, they were never there alone, at least not for very long. I should add that Shelby had a towel around her waist. I did not go and did not have the option to go because we have kids in school, and Craig booked this trip last summer. They were leaving Sunday and his friend canceled Friday, so it was far too late to make 2-week childcare plans. He asked Shelby as opposed to other people from that group of friends because she is the only one really on his level of skiing. Upgrading to the suite cost me $50 a night extra, which was not cheap, but trying to get 2 rooms would have been $450 a night extra. This was the best compromise I could come up with. I am still insecure, but I am working on it. I am not sure if I need therapy or if I just need to have something in my life other than kids and husband to look forward to. I was in quite a rut. The hot yoga has really helped because it is challenging and I have made new friends. Thank you again for all the comments, the positive and the negative. I am not a great writer, so the people who like how I handled this will continue to, and the people who did not like what I did will not. Just trust that I handled this the best way I knew how. To the guys asking for Shelby's Instagram, funny, but no. Dejauser said, Shelby was the flower girl at their wedding when she was a 12-year-old child. OP's husband watched her grow up. It would be absolutely disgusting if he pursued her romantically or sexually. Given that OP has given no indication that her husband is a creep, I am inclined to believe him when he says he has no attraction to her and more sees her as a younger sibling. To this comment, user Barnacle Common said, yeah, agreed. For what it is worth, ski trips do involve a lot of closeness, but I cannot think of a less sexy situation if they are serious about downhill skiing. They probably spent that time physically exhausted, sore as hell, smelly, and kind of gross. Snot, sweat, minor injuries. They have to coordinate bathroom breaks because it is a mile downhill. Even if you shower when you get off the hill, you are not washing your ski boots and gloves every day, and there is going to be a funk. It is all the fun of a road trip and a locker room at the same time. That absolutely says practically siblings to me. I would suspect that OP does not fully get that because she does not ski, and Craig is teaching the kids to ski and taking a lot more breaks to be with her when it is a family trip. That is a lot less intense. Half my family are hardcore ski bums, and I have been on those trips. All you do when you are off the hill is chug fluids, eat candy, and lie exhausted in bed. This final story was made about 2 years ago by a throwaway account. The post is titled, "My boss hasn't talked to me since his drunken striptease. What to do with a probably embarrassed boss? I, a woman in my 40s, my boss, a man in his 50s, and a fellow coworker, a woman in her 60s, all happen to share a hobby. In August, I made the mistake of going on a weekend trip with them. The outing was justified by claiming we could save money if we split the cost of lodging. We rented a 1-bedroom condo with 2 lofts. The lofts faced each other across the living room. I had one loft, my boss had the other. Friday night was fine, but on Saturday he got drunk. After we all went to bed, he stood in his loft and asked if I wanted to sing while he did a striptease. I did not and told him so. I would have turned the lights off so as not to see anything, but the control for the overhead lights was in his loft. Anyway, he proceeded to take off his clothes. I rolled over and faced the wall once his shirt came off. I heard his belt buckle hit the floor not long after. I have no idea if he stopped there or if the performance ended with full frontal nudity. Before this happened, our relationship was great. We have worked together for years and have been very close. We each had a bad pandemic and lost people. We have cried on each other's shoulders via phone several times. But ever since this incident, he has completely ignored me at work. He won't take or return calls and does not respond to emails. At present, I can go a couple of weeks without seeing or hearing from him at all. It has gotten so bad that I have begun contacting other same-level supervisors when I have issues that need to be resolved. Usually, I send the request to him first via email, text, or phone, then send one follow-up 3 days later. If I've gotten no response 48 hours after follow-up, I contact another supervisor. I have kept all my messages friendly and upbeat because I'm pretty sure he is just embarrassed and realizes he made a huge mistake. The other person we were with does not know, and I have no plans of telling her or human resources. I have boys and have held leadership roles in the scouting program for over 12 years, so trust me, I have seen men do a lot of stupid things. Camping, beer, and stupidity are the holy trinity of male outings. This is just par for the course. The only difference is I do not have to work with them. I do know he has been going through a very difficult time personally. Anyway, I'm pretty sure he is embarrassed, possibly even terrified that I will go to human resources because this has the possibility to become a career-ending debacle. I won't do that for one bad decision, which he obviously regrets. However, this is affecting my performance at work, so something has got to change. How do I resolve this issue? I can't just send an email, voicemail, or text because there is no right to privacy on company machines. I have his personal cell number, but I figured that if he is ignoring me at work, he probably won't answer that either. And I can't just walk into his office because we work remotely. Update. The commentator who stated in Vino Veritas hit the mark. Days after my question appeared online, I sat scrolling through comments, crying into my wine. I intended to phone a friend. Instead, I drunk dialed my boss on his work phone. Will answered. Immediately recognizing that I was drunk, he said, "Hang on, I'll call you right back on my personal phone." In the call that followed, he confessed to having a crush on me since his very first day as my supervisor, and he admitted that he wanted me to join him for a sexual liaison in the loft. I admitted that as much as I liked him, I did not like being pursued by someone who was married. You read that right, married. In my initial letter, I lied to protect him. The first lie was saying he was divorced. The second lie was claiming the incident happened in August. Really, it occurred in September. Rather than agree to keep everything professional and above board from then on, Will insisted that he and his wife had separated. Then he convinced me to engage in phone sex. After that, he pursued me relentlessly. And I will admit I liked the attention. After swearing his divorce was final, Will planned a work trip rendezvous for us in April 2024. Once he got what he wanted, he no longer had any use for me and did exactly what you said he would do, lay the groundwork to fire me. Will got a new supervisor in June 2024. She took an immediate dislike to me, often requiring me to work during approved leave, work 7 days per week, shorting my pay, and so on. This culminated in me being required to work 27 consecutive days in January. At first, I thought he was going along with it because he was afraid that if I spoke up, he would lose his job. That would simply make him a coward rather than malicious. Later, I learned I was wrong. Other supervisors began talking. Before me, there was an employee who got involved with Will and ended up being transferred. I watched as Will started grooming another employee after he lost interest in me. Aside from the three of us, Will admitted to having an affair with another woman. And would you believe it? He and his wife are still together. Yeah, cheater's gonna cheat. The constant stress resulted in a mental breakdown. I reported the hostile work environment to Human Resources and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, then spent 3 months on family and medical leave. That ended up protecting my job long enough for the government to start offering voluntary separation incentive programs. I left my job with $25,000 in cash. I am still emotionally broken and working through the betrayal trauma I suffered at Will's hands. I have no idea what the future will hold. My Equal Employment Opportunity Commission complaint was accepted and is moving forward, so I hope there will be justice in the end. Becoming Emma said, so much for one bad decision that he obviously regrets. OP is naive and made several bad decisions here. To this user revolution, No said, OP calls it betrayal, but she knew exactly what the picture was going into this. She just ignored it and then deluded herself. Obviously, Will manipulated her as well, and he is by no means innocent, but she knew the situation, liked the attention, and went along with it for way too long. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.